Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Bit of a tough gig to follow, following the keynote speaker. But hopefully I can capture your attention for at least 1 minute. So, Brexit to BSides, my personal journey into security. Why am I talking about Brexit? This is BSides Bristol. It's a security conference. So, for any of you who don't know me, I've only been in security for 2 years this month. So what was I doing before? Again, for any of you who don't know me, I'm an absolute, unapologetic politics nerd. Now, this started when I was very little, even more little than I am now. I went on to study politics at university. And there was one particular area that really stood out for me. EU affairs. The European Union. I was absolutely fascinated. The languages, the institutions, the countries, I couldn't get enough, for whatever reason. So, studying, it wasn't enough. I wanted to do more. I wanted to get more involved. So I got involved in the community. I joined a political organisation called the European Movement. It started in Bristol, and then I got more involved across the UK. And then over in Brussels too. But still, this wasn't enough, and I wanted more. So over I went to Brussels. I find myself in the European Parliament. The European Parliament. My political nerdiness is taking off. I'm walking the corridors. I'm looking around me. I'm not embarrassed to say I'm starry-eyed. The people that I've just studied, members of the European Parliament, walking around me. Committee sessions, the plenary. I put my headset on. The booths around me, interpreting different languages. It was all unfolding right in front of my very eyes. I absolutely loved it. But it didn't just stop there. I moved on from that role. It brought me to my next role. It was a public-private partnership between the EU and the European aerospace sector, specifically focused around sustainable aviation. So we're talking large industry, Thales, Safran, Rolls-Royce, Airbus, etc. Small and medium companies, universities, research centres. So the ecosystem. Again, for any of you who don't know me, I'm an absolute aerospace and aviation nerd. Now don't ask me which came first. Politics, aviation, aerospace. I love them all. Now, I've attended many events in my time. Professionally and personally, there is one that stands out above all else. The Paris Air Show. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been to an air show in the UK or overseas, but I absolutely loved the Paris Air Show at Le Bourget Airport. The site is massive. And for me, I attended that. We were there, exhibiting one side at the airport and the other. And there was one particular area that absolutely fascinated me. This was the Paris Air Lab. This is where all the innovation of tomorrow was held, or what was coming literally today. I walk in that building and I look up and I see not just one, but 2 Concorde. My aerospace and aviation nerdiness going to new heights. But not just that. What can I hear? I hear it before I see it. The F-35 Lockheed Martin. I couldn't rush outside quick enough. I look up. Absolutely love it. But again, not just that. Who's coming into town? It's the newly elected President of France, Emmanuel Macron. He walks right in front of me, surrounded by bodyguards. Again, my political nerdiness is taking to new heights. I even managed to find the time to see other parts of the air show. I couldn't resist going to the US pavilion. I was totally drawn in. And out the corner of my eye, I go over. It's the late Al Worden, the NASA astronaut on the Apollo 15 mission to the moon. Space, the F-35 Lockheed Martin, Concorde, Emmanuel Macron. I was in my element. All the things that I loved, it was right there, right in front of me. Professionally and personally, it was all taking off. But as you will all know, what goes up absolutely must come down. And it did, very much did come down. And for me, that was Brexit. Now, this had an absolute massive impact on me. It really did hit me hard. What was I going to do? How was I going to navigate this? I stopped and I really looked hard in myself. Should I get Irish citizenship? I can't do that. It's one step too far back in my family history. Should I become Belgian? I don't think that's going to work either. I need to write the next chapter. So I returned to the UK. And I find myself in an IT projects team. Tech, call it what you want. I'm surrounded by project managers in automation, etc., etc. And it will come as absolute no surprise to you all, the one that really captivated me. Security. Where have I been all of my life? This language was alien to me, but I was absolutely captivated. I wanted more of it. I wanted this to be my next chapter, but I just didn't know how to make it happen. So I stopped and I thought, I need to go back a few steps. I need to learn more. I need to walk before I can run. So in my case, I enrolled on a full stack web development course. I learnt it all. Your front end, your back end, your APIs, your programming languages. It was all thrown at me. So I completed that course. Great. My next chapter, my new identity, I'm going to be a developer. Okay. I probably shouldn't admit this, but I knew I wasn't going to be the best developer in the world. But I knew that tech absolutely fascinated me. And security really grabbed me on that course. They had me at SQL injection. But even now, I know that barely scratched the surface. So, this brings me to today. I'm in my current company. I receive an email. It's the 8th of March, 2022. International Women's Day. The Women in Tech and Transformation Forum have designed a job shadow scheme. We have a Women in Tech and Transformation Forum in my company. I didn't know. But I'm interested in tech. I'll apply. So I filled it out. Cybersecurity. My interests. I put it in. A bit of time passed and I heard back. You have been paired with the Group Head of Information Security. Excuse me, I've been paired with the Group Head of Information Security. We have an information security team. Again, I didn't know. In my defence, I've only been working there for less than 6 months by this point. I was still orientating myself. So for me, this is where it all began. The Women in Tech and Transformation Forum. My team, my manager, my company. But it didn't just stop there. For the last 2 years, there's been a community behind me who have supported me and have encouraged me. For instance, BSides, Women in Cybersecurity. I joined it. I threw myself into it wholeheartedly. For example, I applied for the BSides Fortinet Networking Fundamentals Bootcamp. Now, I knew nothing about network security. To be honest, it absolutely terrified me. But I knew I wanted to learn more. So I got an email. You've been accepted. Oh no. I'm supposed to be going to Spain in October. So I find myself logging in the Wi-Fi, bit dodgy, in the hotel. So I'm there learning about the OSI model from Bob, from Fortinet, all the way over in Texas, with all other BSides members logging in from all over the world. I absolutely loved it. Now, a bit more time passed, and I received another email. You have received a scholarship to attend the Women in Cybersecurity Conference in Nashville, Tennessee. I have received a scholarship to attend the Women in Cybersecurity Conference in Nashville, Tennessee. Yes, please, I'll go. So off I went to the US. And I met so many of those BSides members that I had been talking to for months. To see them in person was incredible. I met so many women from all over the world. There was one moment too. It left me speechless, and believe you me, this does not happen very often. I met the people from Fortinet, and they had told me they were the ones that awarded me that scholarship to attend this conference. I didn't know because of my participation in that program. I felt incredibly fortunate and glad that I was able to say to them, thank you for this opportunity. And still, I also applied for another scholarship, and Jane Franklin provided that opportunity to go to the Black Hat Europe briefings. Now, for me, this was like Disney. To go to this conference, I absolutely loved it. And there were other women who were given that opportunity too, and we went there together. There were some that also logged in online who weren't able to make it that day because they were in other countries. But one of them I actually met when I was in Nashville, Tennessee, over in the US. That is the power of community all over the world. But it doesn't just stop there. I applied for the Women in Tech and Cyber Hub, which their group mentorship, their tech trailblazer mentorship. Mentor, mentee. Now, some of those mentors are in the room today. I absolutely loved it. I learnt so much professionally and personally too. Now, I'm incredibly sad it's now ended, but it has had a massive impact on me, and I now call them my friends. So many of them in the community who I call friends, who have supported me, who have encouraged me, who have allowed me to not just grow, but thrive. So what started from the Women in Tech and Transformation Forum, all along the way, there have been people there encouraging me and supporting me. So what's next? It probably comes as absolutely no surprise to any of you. The community features very strongly in my near future. BSides, UK and Ireland affiliate. I'm now involved in their leadership team, and I couldn't be more excited to see what's coming in the next coming days, weeks, and months ahead. The same for the Cyber Peace Institute and their Cyber Peace Builders Programme. Something very close to my heart and very passionate about supporting non-governmental organisations. And we are now going full circle. BSides Bristol. You bet your bottom dollar I'll be here next year, volunteering. So I'll leave it there. If I could just say one thing. For what started for me at the Women in Tech and Transformation Forum, I've had the community behind me. Throw yourself in wholeheartedly. You don't know what you'll learn, who you will meet, where it will take you. But I can guarantee you it will leave an imprint on your life, because it did for me. So I'll leave it there and say thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to answer. Or if you would like to talk to me after or connect with me online. So thank you very much. And I'll leave it there. Any questions?
So you said really what got you on this journey was an organisation at the place you worked at the time. What would you say to people in this room that are inspired by your own story in terms of what they have in place at their workplace?
I mean, obviously in my case, I found it out organically that there was such an entity. Create yourself. If it's not an option, think outside the box. Talk to people. In my experience, people are more than happy to help you if you just show an interest. Okay, you're in finance, you're in HR, I don't know where you are. But just go and speak to people, get in front of them, whether it's at work or outside. Start those conversations. That is the community, that's what it's there for. We are the community. And I might have been politics one day, I might be security tomorrow, but I might be something else, I don't know. But just make it happen, roll your sleeves up, get involved.
Do you know if there's any age limit to the sponsorship opportunities?
Oh, for which in particular?
The ones that you went up to in America and stuff like that.
So there's a few different ones in there. So, for example, some of them are women's particular ones. In this case, no. So, yeah, it's just open to women who are members. For the Jane Franklin one, again, it was just whoever applied and was accepted.
I've got a couple of friends, well, not friends, daughter's friends around sort of like 16, 17, really interested in cyber. Really good opportunity.
Yeah, definitely welcome to talk to after if you want to speak more about that. Definitely. Any other questions?
I have a question, but
oh God, don't do this
do
to
you
me.
need more JavaScript or PHP?
Easy. JavaScript. Why does there have to be both? Make up your mind. I like where I stand with PHP, so.
You got something.
That's all.
Thank you very much.
Very much, everybody.